Hey guys, welcome back. Okay, it's been a few days since I got my Bambu Lab H2S 3D printer. Since then, I've just been going bonkers, printing all kinds of stuff. I have a ton of my own projects that I'm dying to put on that printer. I've bought filaments specifically for some of my stuff that's gonna go on there, but it's not quite ready yet. So in the meantime, I'm just trying to run the printer as much as possible just to test it, just see what kind of stuff comes out, make things just to give away and so forth. This is a kind of a little pile of some of the stuff that I've been printing, so I figured I would go through it and show you guys. If you saw my video where I talked about getting the printer, obviously I showed my 3D printed zombie head of me, which is done off of a scan of myself. I sculpted it up to look more like a zombie. You know that I've done this. I played zombies in some films and things, so I kind of use that as a look, and printed this, basically to see how much size I could print on the printer and see how it would come out. And it looks really nice. It came out awesome, and that was one of the first things. But the very first thing I printed was a tiny version of that same head, little tiny guy right there, and after I printed this one, I was like, well, let me see what it's like when I print a whole bunch at a time. So I did 15 at a time, and I printed 45 more after a couple individuals here. And they are like this. I've painted them to, basically make them look more zombie-like. And I gave a bunch away at LA Comic-Con. This is what I have left. I already gave away a ton of these. And I have a couple of these reserved for some people that asked for them. And I've got maybe 3 or 4 more to give away. And then I printed 40 more. Technically, I printed 43 more. So total, I've printed 90 of these little heads. And these little guys, also PLA, they are slightly larger than the first ones I printed, just a little bit. You can see the scale here. These are 13.63% scale. I kind of just manually did it. And then these are 15% scale. So just a tiny bit bigger. However, it's about the same amount of filament because this is 3-layer walls, and I did 2 on this one and made them hollow. So it's about the same amount of filament, actually quicker to print the larger one. The only reason I blew them up, the main reason, is that I added my my Instagram handle to the bottom here, just so if I leave them places, people can figure out where they came from. But there are 40 more here waiting to be painted, and I'll be painting these tonight. I'm gonna paint all these to kind of look like this, along with this one for Halloween decoration. I'm gonna do a whole different video on that. So I'll get those out of the way for the time being. And in the meantime, you guys saw the Dewback that I did, if you saw my other video. A Star Wars Dewback lizard here, which is just the head. Is off of a scan of one of the real ones, obviously scaled down. And if you didn't see the last video, I worked with Regal Robot years ago when Regal Robot first launched. Regal Robot made a couch, a Dewback sofa, which if you look it up, it's pretty neat. Maybe I'll put a picture here. The head we did off of the scan of a real one, and then had it milled out of foam, and then Rich Riley fabricated the whole rest of the sofa. Anyway, that's why I have this model, but every time I get a new printer, I print a Dewback head. So this is my print off of the Bambu Lab, and it came out just freaking beautiful. And this is standard layer height, nothing special. Totally hollow, no infill. Really awesome. Then I was like, well, what else do I have that I just have kicking around? A while back, I made comlinks, like Star Wars little comlinks, like C-3PO has. When he's talking to Luke Skywalker, we're in a trash compactor, that kind of thing. And I initially made it 3 parts, and then I was like, I can make the design a little easier, especially on the Bambu printer, which is a Core XY, where just the bed lowers instead of the bed going the Cartesian style where the bed moves back and forth. I thought I could just make it like a full core, and then the little grip piece would go over that like this. And if you want a better reference, they look more like this. So the grip piece is one part, black filament, and then even though I was trying to simplify it, make it less pieces, I just realized I could make the little grill another piece that pops in. And the tolerances are so good on this Bambu printer that this is pretty much great. Fits together perfectly. I might make a couple nubbies so that this thing clicks together and it actually really stays. The grill part fits in there perfectly. Just pops in, and I can't take it out again. I don't need any glue or anything. So I'll put these up on Thingiverse. They'll probably replace the old version. I might just use the old version and post this with the old version too. So if you see it, I'll put a link to it once I get it posted. So I tested these and I made, I don't know, a few of them. And before Star Wars Celebration in 2027, I'm probably going to print like 200 of these and just give them away to people. So, you know, if you're Star Wars Celebration in 2 years, be on the lookout for me and I'll give you one. So got those. I did those new things. I printed C-3PO eyes, just the main shell, which is like the grill and the back. Now, I think I showed this in my other video, but these eyes were designed to pop together like this. And on my Prusa, which has pretty good tolerance, if I push this back into place, it would click in and just sort of stay there. Pressure fit. It would be, you know, just stay in place. But on the Bambu Lab, do you hear that? That is loose. And that's not a bad thing. It's because the tolerances on the Bambu Lab are so good that it just is so clean that the amount of room that I gave to make sure that this would squeeze tight on the Prusa is more than enough for the Bambu. So those came out really good. So I might actually do some updated designs for these as well. And if you guys, any of my 3PO builder friends that might be watching know that I did these new designs with a kind of a taper back. So if you're wearing the costume, it's a little easier to see. Not that that matters to most of the people watching this. Push those prints out of the way. And then we're speaking of tolerances. I started just printing random stuff off of the Bambu Slicer, the Bambu Labs slicing software. They have a link to their online model community, and you can go on there and just download all kinds of stuff, which isn't a thing that I typically do. Never was really amused by a lot of random things, but the printer is so fast and it finishes my other prints before I'm ready to put another print on there. So I'm like, well, what else do I print? Let me just find some stuff. So I started downloaded a bunch of crap from the Bambu Labs page and just printing it. And one of the things I did were these little hands. You can see, look at that. Now, it is the white and the gray are white and gray only because I just started to print in white and then it ran out and it switched to gray. It's just, I had it set up with the PLA like that. I told the filament selector that they were the same type, so it just ignored the colors and just printed anyway. And this prints in 2 pieces. So it's the thumb is like this, and the little hand and fingers print flat on the bed just like this, and the thumb's kind of there like this. That's it. And the tolerances are so good. Let me see if I can get this close enough to camera to show this. Look at how fiddly all the little linkages are on this hand. They're so small and they work perfectly, and it's all prints in one piece. You don't have to assemble this. It's all prints together. And I just can't get over how fine that little detail is and how the gaps are they're so little. So very, very, very impressed with the tolerances of this printer. They're great. And so in lieu of printing more tiny stuff, I printed a whole bed full of these little tiny cats. Oops, there's so many. I printed probably 40 or 50 of them. Oops, I lost another one. And I've been losing them all over the house and giving them away. Let's see if I can get that to focus. Focus. There's itty bitty little ghost cats. They're on another thing that's on the Thingiverse page. And then in the Halloween spirit, I printed some of these little skeletons. I printed 4 or 5 of these little guys. Same thing, they print in one piece, just flat on the bed. And these are just fun. And I sent the rest with my wife to give to like our little cousins and stuff who would love them. Also, not a kid's toy, I printed some ninja stars, shuriken. And they actually work. I don't think they would stick in wood or anything, but if you got a big piece of styrofoam, they absolutely work to throw into some styrofoam. Very fun. Then we printed, of course, weapons, you know. And there's another version. If you've never seen how one of these kind of knives works, it's really cool. I'm going to show you something. This is a little bit of an aside here, but let's say I undo this and the blade is loose, right? So you'll notice I'm going to let it down just as gently as possible, right? I didn't push anything down. I didn't preload a spring. Oh, just works right away. It's so cool. And this one is a little bit kind of like a stripped down naked version of one. Oops, it's kind of hard to hold. The spring pressure is a little higher on this one. But it's a very interesting mechanism, and I had a lot of ideas based on the mechanism in these little toys here that I think I could apply to some other things, some droid related things. So I'm gonna keep this in mind in the future. I also test printed some more 3PO parts. I did a whole bunch of these antennas. I oriented them in all kind of different directions to see which ones will come out the best. This is not actually one of the best ones. I don't know where I put the other ones. This is the only one I could find. I set them down somewhere strange. But this one came out, focus. This one came out really clean, almost all the way around, except a little booger in the back. And that's just because I think the way I had it oriented in my slicer was probably not optimal. Other 3PO parts printed in PETG. These are the 3PO arm little greeblies, and these are just 0.2 millimeter layer height. PETG, so they got a little flex to them, which is nice. These printed beautifully, and if I put them on a really fine setting like 0.08 millimeter, they probably look amazing. So cool. These came out good. Maybe you've seen this in the back there. A little Terminator skull. This was from Thingiverse. If I can remember the link, I downloaded this ages ago. I'll see if I can find the link to it and put it up. This is a good model. I don't know if it's completely screen accurate, but overall it looks really good. The detail. I didn't print all the accessories yet. Come on, focus. Let me see if I can get it. Focus here. Sorry, guys. I know I'm putting stuff close to the camera and it's trying to look at me instead. Cool. Ignore that. But it is PETG, so it didn't break in that drop. This is another one. I printed this totally hollow. There's no infill inside. I did a hollow print, and it does that thing where it will make the little bridges inside where it needs a little bit of infill. So there's not like a full infill grid pattern or anything. It's just hollow with a couple little strings here and there where it needs them. But this came out really good. I might take this model and fix it so that the jaw can be animated, because the way this is done up here, it just doesn't quite make sense, but it's a good decorative T800 skull. So this one's really cool. And I printed it kind of small just because I just was bored. I was planning on getting something on the printer sooner, but I might reprint this in full scale and print all the accessories. And that's not it. Most of these things I've printed multiple versions of. And so far, it's been running since, I don't know, 2 days before my last video, whatever that was, and almost full time. And it's been great. It's been really, really great. I had 2 or 3 of these little cats pop loose on one print, and they sort of strung, like I came in and it had the little bit of spaghetti, and I didn't get a spaghetti detection error, but it basically kind of like printed all the rest of them fine. So it's just maybe like 2 of them that kind of came loose. I had like a couple little boogers in one spot. Not a big deal to me, but just as a note for perfection wise. Otherwise, they're really good. It just does not like to focus on this close stuff. I'm also using a different camera, using this Sony little thing here, which I don't know if I'll use it all the time. It's my wife's. And that's it. So yeah, anyway, I'm gonna go start painting this version. I've made one of these before. I'm gonna post these as Halloween decorations soon, and I'll show you how I paint them to make them look like zombies and gross. And I'm gonna do that in the next video. But anyway, just a little look at some of the things that I've made so far on my Bambu Lab H2S 3D printer. I love it so far. Bambu Lab, thank you. It's been really good. And I'm not saying thank you because of sponsorship. I bought this thing. No sponsors. Not sponsored. But thank you for making such a cool printer that I'm really happy with. It's awesome. Let's hope it stays that way. All right, kids, have a fun time. See you later. Bye.